Hi, I'm Joe Montague from M Properties. I'm a licensed real estate agent with Gorzon Realty. And I am going to be doing a series of videos to educate homeowners who possibly want to sell or rent their properties on some of the mistakes and what to look out for when they're about to sell their property. So today's video, I'm going to address the most common mistake I see sellers, property owners make when looking to sell their property. First of all, what most owners tend to do is to try to price the property at its highest rate. So they look to say, give me whatever I can get at the highest and look to negotiate down from there when persons are interested. I mean, it is, only logical that you try and get that strategy to get the most out of it. But I'm going to tell you that there are other ways of getting it done and getting even a better response. First of all, when looking to price a property, a homeowner should try to set a pricing strategy with their real estate agent. I don't want to seem like I'm leaning you towards using a realtor. However, if you use a realtor should come with this ability to give you a strategy to get that outcome that you're looking for, right? To develop this strategy, the first thing that will be done is to do an assessment on the property, look at what you have in terms of the square footage, the location, the condition of the property, what is happening around the space in the general area. Those are valid reasons, valid areas to address when pricing the property. However, a mistake that homeowners made is to say that, boy, my neighbor down the road has sold his for, X amount 4 years ago, right? And in Jamaica, property values go up. So, 4 years ago, he got that, so I should be able to get this now. All right, fine, valid point. The comparables, meaning when a real estate agent goes on for operational network, can tell you what are the properties that were actually sold. Because your neighbor can tell you he sold it for that, but you don't actually know what it was sold for. So we can actually validate if that property was sold through those mediums, and we are privy to that information. And so we can say, okay, that is indeed the case. We can now compare your property with his. Is the size of the lot the same? Is the property in the same condition? Various factors can be determined to compare. But not only your neighbor down the road, but probably in the general Kingston jurisdiction. So a Kingston 5 or 6 or 8 or 7, whatever it is, right? We'll look across the spectrum and see what are the comparable rates there. Within that now, we then can assess and say, okay, here is our professional value on the property. And that will take into consideration all that was discussed and the different areas that you need to consider. The mistake that homeowners make when asking for the highest is that sometimes if a property, say for instance, is going for 30 million generally, right? And then the homeowner said, boy, I want to list it for 36 because my neighbor sold his for 29 million last year. That 36 million prices out a lot of persons who are looking for properties up to $30 million. So those ready and waiting buyers are probably not going to see that property because they would have set a cap of a certain amount on their search for a property. So you have invariably priced them out of seeing your property on the market. So you won't be generating as much interest from the ready purchasers as you want. Who you would be generating interest from are those looking to, who are in probably a higher bracket at 35 to 40 million, and looking at your property now and say, yes, this could do, but it doesn't check all the things on my box. So I am going to negotiate it down some more, or I am going to watch it for a little because, it doesn't check all the boxes. So there is that momentum loss. There's that general interest that you would have gotten if the property was priced at its correct point. Now, that momentum is significant because when the property is now on the market for, say, 45 days or more, you will have persons questioning, why is what wrong with the property? Why this takes so long to sell? And then soon after, you do a price reduction. And then when the price goes down now, you see, persons who should have gotten it in the first place, well, who should have seen it, would now say, it's on the market long man, all right, let me try off it still, or, something must wrong with it, or just that general sentiment. You don't want that around a property. I mean, if you have the time and you can wait for the period of getting that right buyer, no problem. But if you're looking to sell your property quickly and get the highest buyer to move on, because the time you spend trying to sell the property, you may be losing out on the opportunity to move on to your next investment. So that time factor is something to consider as well, that you need to put at the top of your agenda. So, not keeping it too long, but that is one of the major areas to consider. And remember, every property has value. It's just the right strategy to unlock it. So, thanks for joining me, and see you on the next video. If you like it, and subscribe. More to come.